When we arrived, we had heavy smoke and lots of fire coming from the roof and attic area. Of course, our first concern, we evacuated the building safely. Right now, there's no injuries to any of the occupants or any of our firefighters.
And the Chisholm-Hibbing Airport. Northwest wants the facilities, needs the maintenance bases. Northwest wants the facilities, needs the maintenance bases to be built, is prepared to move ahead as quickly as on the side of the state of Minnesota in light of the new arrangements with Northwest's labor negotiations, the nearly $1 billion in commitments made by Northwest's labor unions, and the new finance injected into the company just announced on Monday that the state will have to review the entire package. That should be done within a matter of 3 weeks.
The rush is on as frantic Northlanders try to beat holiday deadlines at their local post office. But now there's a new service to alleviate some of the waiting.
Well, yes, this year for the first time we're offering a special Sunday collection. Boxes around the city will be picked up, the mainstream boxes, not so much in the outlying residential areas.
The Sunday pickup service will operate December 13th and 20th, no later than 1 p.m. at locations in Duluth, on the Range, and in Grand Rapids. A critical thing to remember when sending gifts this holiday season is to have the proper packaging materials. Without them, your gift will go nowhere.
I have some packaging items here that we sell at the post office here, various sizes of boxes. We do recommend the nylon reinforced strapping tape or a heavier plastic tape. We also sell these convenient sealing strips.
And of course, timing is everything. It's already too late for overseas mail. Out-of-state packages should be sent by tomorrow. Any cards or in-state parcels must be mailed no later than December 19th to ensure prompt delivery. By following these guidelines, your holiday messages and gifts should reach their destinations by Christmas. In Duluth, Janine Johnson, News 6.
It's pretty much the same as we're doing here in the church now, and but we have it everywhere in the schools and at the companies and in the church and everywhere.
What happens? Tell me what happens when you wake up in the morning. What does the whole ceremony? What do you do?
I don't do anything in the morning, so by myself, but I know that some of
Authorities arrived at the First State Bank of Willow River before 11. Inside, a clerk had been tied to a chair by a man wielding a handgun. Eyewitnesses describe it as a semi-automatic .45. The suspect was in the bank for just minutes, taking an undetermined amount of cash and fleeing in a white Pontiac. Pine and Carleton County deputies quickly set up roadblocks and warned residents to be on guard. Joanne Gassler of the Squirrel Cage Bar locked her doors.
Good thing to do because it was just a matter of minutes after he had robbed the bank that the trooper came in, so We had no idea of knowing if he was still around town or gone or what.
Take the ball if you can handle.
Students at Willow River Elementary were held indoors instead of playing out on the playground.
The message we had was that he was armed, and we felt in this day and age with visitors coming in and off of school property that we would take the extra precaution and keep the children indoors.
After several hours with no leads, authorities gave up the roadblocks and reports the robber might have been a local. They now believe he fled the area.
I would suppose this individual is not in the area right now. That would be my guess. But if someone knows anything that might fit in, we would appreciate any information that they might have.
The FBI has been called in to investigate. In Willow River, Dave Jensch, News 6.
I don't think it's something that needs to be, everybody needs to be peering through a window, or I would suppose this individual is not in the area right now. That would be my guess.
Take this off and come back and get the rest.
The Arrowhead Food Bank normally does distribution of food to most of these organizations throughout the year, and we're very happy to assist Louis Gino's and Gino in getting this product out at Christmas time.
Give me a call. And what is your name? Are you good? Arrived here this morning from the North Pole on a quick trip. I got a lot of helpers here with me this morning and during the rest of the week. And I just checking them out to see if they're going to do a good job for the boys and girls that are calling in. You about 7? Can you speak a little louder? Because Santa's getting the...
We've got everything from Mexico, Scandinavian countries, Poland, a Ukrainian spider tree, and even a Moravian Christmas tree in pots.
And how has the turnout been so far?
Oh, really good. See, I can't talk. Cut me out.
And special.
On behalf of the Wildy H. Mitchell Family Foundation, a check in the amount of $100,000.
Last May, these men and women broke with Catholic tradition and consecrated the Eucharist themselves. It was a ceremony designed to advance the cause of women in the Church.
These are indeed issues that are very, very deeply felt. The issues that are dealt with in this pastoral. And that is an invitation to me, as well as to the other bishops, to take them very, very seriously.
At that time, the bishop told the Women's Task Force that he would vote against the pastoral letter because it affirmed an all-male priesthood. But when Bishop Schweitz voted to support the pastoral, shockwaves reverberated throughout the Women's Task Force. 3 recently resigned. Mary Siddick was one of them.
While I don't believe he is not supportive of women, his primary concern is that he support the teachings of the Catholic Church, and they are in direct opposition to what some of us believe is the equality of women.
But another member of the task force, Tina Hoban, feels differently.
This task force is historical. We've never had anything like this in this diocese for women, and we're looking at what to do. We could decide to form a women's commission in this diocese, which would again be historical. I have a lot of hope for that.
But Siddick says she still has an underlying feeling of hurt and sadness.
That no matter how loud or how soft I cry, you are oppressing me, I'm not being heard, and I can be disposed of.
And with the numbers of practicing Catholics dwindling each year, there aren't that many left to be disposed of. In Duluth, Heather Filkins, News 6.
It was Day Watch out of Duluth, a slow afternoon in ID. Normally, this office is busy fingerprinting suspects and cataloging data that could well lead to solving crime. The officers here are dedicated to police science, the science of the present and the past, which brings us to tonight's story. Behind these cabinet doors, a page from history.
Suppose that would be in the eyes of the collector. To me, it's invaluable. I couldn't put a dollar value on it. It's worth so much in the history of police science.
It is the Bertillon method of identification. At the turn of the century, Duluth's finest had the finest equipment available to ID criminals. These old black and white mugshots tell the tale of Duluth's earlier days. Street crime, gambling, prostitution, and murder. Suspects would be booked using this method developed in Paris in 1882.
He used several instruments to do it, calipers and scales of different types. And these are the original instruments made in Paris by Alphonse Bertillon.
Duluth's system remains intact, from this height measuring stick to these silver and copper calipers.
One of the other smaller instruments, sliding scale, was used to do the ear, measure the left ear, and record that detail as well.
The complete package included this large format camera for mugshots and employee identification. This is a very young Dick Yagoda. This is an about-to-be-retired Yagoda. But getting back to our story, the Bertillon system lost favor when fingerprinting came to the forefront of police science. Alphonse Bertillon himself helped to make his system obsolete when he became the first police officer to track down a criminal using fingerprints from a crime scene. Not in use, Bertillon's system in Duluth has collectors from around the world interested. But Duluth police officers have other plans and hope to someday display this piece of history in a local museum,
where people could appreciate the value of the metamorphosis of the science of identification work in police investigation, and see how it's come in a number of years.
We managed to fight like heck, but still get together and get things done occasionally, and that's kept us surviving for 100 years, and also has produced some outstanding leaders.
Mary and Jewel are quite a team, and their owner doesn't mind bragging about them or Belgians in general.
Their disposition is a lot quieter and a lot easier to work with. Each horse, even a saddle horse, has their own personality. I mean, it seems like a draft horse expresses it a lot more than a light horse, but they're a lot quieter to work with. It doesn't mean that they can't move, and it doesn't mean that they can't get a little excited and all of that, but it's just easier to work with them.
For Randy Denton, Belgians and sleigh rides are a family tradition.
Well, my dad had horses, a team when I was a kid, and used to give rides, and now he's a big part of it now. He just lives up the road a quarter of a mile, and whenever we have a ride, it's a big ride where we have to have two sleds, and he usually takes one of them.
And Randy knows everything about this tradition.
Someplace in history, it became part of the thing to push somebody off and go for a sleigh ride. Yeah. It doesn't matter
You're
who.
not going to do that to me, are you?
Well, we never know. You never know. I can't figure out where that comes from. I've asked people in Canada, some of our friends in Canada that give rides, and they say the same thing there. They don't know where it came from, but it's just part of the tradition to give. I mean, a sleigh ride is what you make it. If you come and you want to just sit and enjoy the beauty and enjoy the woods and things and enjoy the ride, you enjoy the ride. If you want to come and have a little bit of a rowdy group, well, you have a little bit of, it just depends on what you want the ride to be.
Yes, you will.
Sometimes when you go for a ride, and you can tell by the time you leave the yard, you have a group that don't care that you're going, that the horses are here, they don't care anything about you, they just want to go out on this ride. They don't want you to be involved, and so you're just sitting up here doing your thing, you drive along and whatever. So I was doing that one night, and I heard this laughing and screaming and whistling, and I thought, I really should look. Somebody might be getting killed. And I turned around, and there was a lady doing a striptease dance in the middle of my sled, and I said, I'm missing this.
Rest assured, not all the rides are that wild, unless, of course, you want them to be. In Barnum, Janine Johnson, News 6.
The spoils from the Northlands deer hunting season will soon be on their way overseas, thanks to area hunters involved in the Hides for Habitat program.
Hides for Habitat is hides that are donated to the state of Minnesota by deer hunters, and the monies go back into deer properties as wildlife openings for deer feed.
There's a nice deer there.
The program is in its 7th year. This year, the DNR in Cloquet collected 1,700 hides.
it's worked tremendous, I think. Gets everybody involved, and the hunters get a chance to put something back into their sport.
The hides are sold for $6 a piece. The state matches that price, and the funds are used to help maintain habitat. Organizers say it's a way to ensure the future of the state's deer herd. Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan are the largest hide collectors in the U.S. This shipment is headed for New York, and from there it will be distributed across the country and even the world. So while these hides are headed for Italy to be made into boots and purses, the whitetails left behind will make it through another winter thanks to Hides for Habitat. In Cloquet, Amy Rutledge, News 6.
Preliminary, just from what the investigators could determine, it's probably she's probably been there a few weeks, several weeks.